Hey, just a heads up, this is chapter 6 of my audiobook, Conversational Relationship Marketing. So it's not a full version, normal version of the client catching podcast. So you might want to go back and start from the beginning of the book if you got here by some different reason. But I do suggest you go back and listen to these in order, or just go back and listen to some of the other episodes of the client catching podcast. Golden rule number 6. The only hack or secret to getting results from marketing is consistency. Okay, so far, so good? Are you still with me? Well, as you're listening, I'm going to assume that you are. But look, as a quick summary, here's what we've done so far. 1, we've got clarity around your growth goals. 2, we've dialed in what you do and who you do it for. 3, we've drafted your dynamite offer to attract them. 4, we created a headline to talk clearly about the result that you get for your ideal client. And 5, we've designed a client attracting LinkedIn profile. Now, first of all, you should congratulate yourself for getting this far, because that's a lot to get done. And this will set the foundations for really what's coming next, which we're going to go fishing. So we're going to start by reaching out to those perfect clients that you've worked so hard to identify. Now, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to search and find them on LinkedIn in the next golden rule. But for now, I'm just going to give you the overview of how the process works and my daily practice so you can get it clear in your mind and potentially catch up on the homework of the other action sets that I've been setting, because I know how life gets in the way and some of this does require a little bit of work, right? So how you will generate sales opportunities on LinkedIn. You'll be having conversations with people directly through direct messages on LinkedIn. This is at the heart of conversational relationship marketing. What you're not going to do is the leg hump. Now, this is a term from a guest on the podcast, Phil Newton, that I absolutely loved. And make sure you go back and listen to that episode. It was with also with Sean Donahoe as well. But basically, you're not going to go straight in and try and make the sale on the first contact. Instead, you're starting a conversation with, at the moment, no set agenda other than to discover whether there's an opportunity to help each other. Now, this may be through working together directly, becoming a referral source or a strategic partnership, and there's going to be more on that later on in one of the other golden rules. So let me walk you through my daily practice. Because I know if I'm going to keep my pipeline full, then every day I need to initiate at least 20 conversations a day on LinkedIn. Now, of course, you can do more, you can do less, but I find for me, this is about the right number to be able to hit my goals without spending all day on LinkedIn. Now, the people that you'll look to start conversations with are those that fit your ideal client profile, who have either sent you an inbound connection request, checked out your profile, interacted with your latest post or content, commented on your comments on posts from other people who share your audience, such as influencers and those with a large following, and that you find using search to either reconnect at a first degree level or cold connect at a second or third degree level, making sure to personalize your outreach messages. Why you have to use direct messages. Now, the reality is that 85 to 95% of your leads will come from connecting with people and having conversations through LinkedIn's direct messaging platform, and then moving those conversations off of LinkedIn. Now, unfortunately, this is where most people get stuck. Now, why is that? Usually, it's because they tie themselves up in knots as they just don't know what to say. From the connection request to the first message to keeping the conversation alive, most people on LinkedIn are guessing at each stage of the conversation. It's because of this, I see many people simply using a copy and paste script that they got from someone who claims it to be the ultimate client getting message, right? Or they'll find an automation tool and chuck out a bunch of robotic sounding messages that people can now smell from an absolute mile away. This doesn't work. I mean, let me ask you, if you met someone in the real world, would you say, hang on a minute, let me find my script before I answer your question or introduce myself? Of course not. You'd simply have a conversation. Even though every interaction is different, you'd know what to say. Now, it's the same with LinkedIn and using direct messages to connect with people. So let me explain how you don't need to worry about this ever again. Knowing how to lead the conversation equals unlimited opportunity. Well, I've boiled this down into a simple framework based on fundamental principles of human behavior, psychology, and interaction. Now, with the following conversational relationship marketing communication framework, all direct message conversations flow through just 5 steps. A 5-stage conversational relationship marketing communication framework. Now, as you might expect, there is a fishing connection here. I named this framework CATCH. Okay, so CATCH. Now, the first C stands for connect, or reconnect with existing contacts, first degree, and connect with second or third degree connections. So what you do is you send a friendly, conversational, direct reconnect or connection message, DM, and like, share, comment on their posts. This is all about getting engagement. If a person isn't willing to engage in conversation, it doesn't matter how good they look on paper, it's going to be near impossible to win them as a client. A is for acknowledge. Send friendly, conversational follow-up DMs. This is all about building rapport and qualifying the person you're talking to by making sure that they have a problem that you can solve and that they are actually motivated enough to solve it. The T is for trust. Invite them to receive something interesting or valuable, such as a video, an article, a guide, or offer to make an introduction to someone they may want to meet, or your entire network. Now, this is a good one, and I'm going to show you about this later. The C is for confirm. Ask them a specific question to uncover if you can help them. Now, this involves presenting your offer, not a pitch, that gets your prospect excited about the possibility of actually solving their problem. And the H, it's for help. If they want to explore the possibility of working together, this is where you'll invite them onto a short phone or Zoom call to discuss options. So that's my CATCH framework. The C is connect, A is acknowledge, T is trust, C is confirm, and H is help. Now, for your business, you'll have different specifics depending on the target market and how they interact on LinkedIn. And that is why scripts don't work. Instead, when you use this proven framework for moving your prospect from one stage to the next, there is no guesswork regarding what to say or when to message someone, because it becomes natural and instinctive, just like any normal conversation. You'll know exactly what questions to ask depending on which phase your conversation is in, and at the same time, you'll remain sensitive to the reactions and engagement level of the person that you're talking to. Now, there are only 2 things you should ever sell through this approach. The first is a free resource that educates them about your solution in relation to a problem that they face, which then invites them to a call. Now, this gets into the realm of automation and campaigns, and it's a little bit beyond the scope of this book. But eventually, you'll want to create an appointment campaign and an authority campaign in order to scale both your outreach and marketing in general. Now, if you get a written copy of the book at thinklikeafish.co.uk/free book, you'll see in this golden rule, you can click through for an example of an appointment campaign. And by the way, if you hadn't guessed it, you're in one of my authority campaigns right now. There's a big hint. Now, you can also take a look at another example through the book, and you'll get to see my video, how to get 5 to 10, 15, 25 or more predictable sales appointments every month in just 30 minutes a day. And if you want to find out how to set these all up and how they all work together, you can also find a copy of my hands-free sales system PDF and walkthrough video, again, in this golden rule of the written book, which is at thinklikeafish.co.uk/free book. And this explains how all of these work together, and surprise, surprise, these are all examples of authority campaigns. So that's the first thing you might try, that you would try and sell in inverted commas. The second is a 15-minute quick call to see if you can help them out or not. Now, the quick call is there for you to complete the qualifying process and build rapport. Now, by checking out somebody's LinkedIn profile and pre-qualifying them through the direct messages, most people that you get to this stage, they're usually, on paper at least, a good fit. Now, at the end of the call, you can ask them if they want to schedule a second call to continue the conversation. And unless unless that you both agree to continue the conversation there and then, of course. Now, that does happen. And at that point, whether you continue the conversation or you move on to a second call, that then just becomes the traditional sales call where you recap the situation, where they want to go and why they can't get there by themselves, and make sure that you've got it all straight. And at this point, you're just simply able to ask, would you like some help to get where you're trying to get to? Now, there's a hint there as well for you in terms of that is my sales process. That is my hard sale, right? That is an example of what I do. And I can tell you, things have changed an awful lot since I have implemented this process, because I used to be terrified of selling, right, in the traditional way. This way, you are just finding out and actually having conversations whether or not the person has the problem that you actually solve, and if they are needing to solve it, and if they'd like your help to do so after having a conversation. So once you've done that, you can then simply go in and dive into explaining how you will help them and how much the investment will be and all that kind of stuff. So this is why I love this process and why my clients love this process. So go the extra mile. Now, you will potentially encounter some resistance or skepticism by going through this approach, especially when offering to get on a phone call. Now, a really good way that you can actually reduce someone's resistance or their skepticism, it's by making this clear, either using a voice clip that you can do from the LinkedIn mobile app, or a short video using something like BombBomb or Loom, and there's links again in the written version of the book, which can then be sent directly in a DM. Now, you'll only be making a few of these kind of videos a day, and as the video is under 1 minute, it really doesn't take long to do, but it goes a long way to build trust, because almost nobody does it. I mean, ask yourself, when was the last time you got a personal video message in a LinkedIn direct message? 3 ways to start an engaging conversation. Now, don't worry, I give you access to specific frameworks for your messaging over the next few golden rules, to be honest, because I know that's what most people want. But as always, you'll need the context first. For now, I'll simply give you the high-level way that you can start a conversation, and I'm sure you can work out a message or two of your own using just these alone. So, first way is show that you know what's going on in their marketplace by talking about a recent event, a trend, or a statistic, and always end with the question, what do you think about this? Second way is list off 3 common challenges that you see are happening in the industry and ask them which one they resonate with the most. And if it's none of them, ask them to tell them what their biggest challenge is. By the way, this is a fantastic way to think like the fish and really get to understand your market, so it's got a double benefit. And the third way is just to simply engage them with a question. So an example of how all of this works to generate clients, I'm going to use conservative numbers. So let's say you spent 30 minutes on this a day, and in 30 minutes, you could start 20 conversations, and you did that for 20 days over a month, because let's be honest, we all like to take weekends off. That would equal 400 conversations that you're initiating every single month. Now let's just say 5% of those conversations that you initiate are interested and ideal prospects, to the point which they've engaged in the conversation and you've taken them through the catch framework and they've said, yeah, actually, this makes sense. Let's have a conversation. That means that you're booking 20 calls a month, and let's just say you enroll 15% of those calls into clients. That means you are bringing on 3 new clients a month from doing 30 minutes a day of this process. Now, let's just say you're selling a service at £5,000. That means this system and this process is worth 15k of new revenue each and every month. Now, over time, hitting these numbers becomes pretty easy as your pipeline grows with prospects to follow up with, and you actually do less of the cold connecting. And plus, you can multiply your efforts across a full sales team and see even bigger results. So if you are a sales director or you have a sales team in your business, go and give them this book and get them to read it and then implement, because you are going to exponentially increase the reach and the effectiveness of this process within your company and within your firm, which just means more revenue for the firm, and every single person that is responsible for generating revenue will have a proven process for doing it. So, action steps for this golden rule. Perhaps you'll be happy to hear, but there are no specific action steps other than to think about how you can put this process into your daily routine. And catch up on dialing in your ideal client profile, dynamite offer, headline profile, all that kind of thing. So there you go. You get a bit of a break after this one. So that's it for golden rule number 6. Thank you ever so much for listening today. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there you could be listening to. You've chosen this one, and for that I am truly, truly grateful. If you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener and you haven't yet subscribed to the show, please make sure that you do, because you'll get updated of the latest episodes every time they come out. And if, again, you are enjoying it, I'd really, really appreciate a honest rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I read every single one personally, and they do really mean the world to me. And yes, they help others find the show. If you're able to do that, again, I massively, massively appreciate it. But until next time, happy fishing.